Well, hello there, guys. Welcome once again to the Nexus of Geek YouTube channel. I know it's been a long time since I dropped a video, and I'm trying to see if I can get. Well, I'm not gonna promise to be like on a more a direct or consistent schedule like I would like to be because life has been unpredictable with work and other IRL things that have gotten in the way of making these. The last time I attempted to record a video, I was kind of running out of space on my hard drive, and then I moved around transferred a lot of files to a temporary external drive, and that seemed to work a lot better, freeing up some room. So that was probably the obvious solution that I should have tried from the get go. But I don't know. I might change my mind, but this might be the very last video for a while about Dungeons and Dragons on the Geek channel. And don't get me wrong, I still love Dungeons and Dragons. It's my favorite game I think of all time, except for chess. But chess is a two-player game, so you can't normally play it with a bunch of people, or a group of people rather. But the reason being was because I either don't I'm running a little scars on really heavy or the topics that I really want to expand upon. And I'm a little bit. Oh, by the way, before I go on, I want to apologize for the lighting situation. My both my desk lamps went out. Those things are pretty fragile, and if they fall, one of them took a tumble. Um, but the light bulb didn't break, so it was something internally mechanical. But I think I can fix at least save one of them. So I'm using this little LED light desk thing that I have for emergencies when the power goes out. But anyway, be that as it may, I apologize. This was like the best I could do in terms of lighting because I have an overhead light, but it's too bright and it was giving some really weird auras. So I apologize for that. So, but you're not here to see my ugly mug. You're here to talk to hear me talk about and discuss gaming topics, topics of geek culture. And I started to say that um, I don't anticipate. I might change my mind, but I don't really anticipate doing like a whole lot of D&D content. Only because unless there's something I really want to talk about, I don't want to put pressure on myself having to put out a video just because I want to keep more content coming. I think it's better and more efficient and really more genuine if you there's a topic that you've been attempting to broach. So that's a long intro, and again, I may change my mind. I might do more D&D content on my geek blog, which I haven't updated in a while either. But I plan to go back to updating that. And if you're interested, I'll leave a link on the description below. I think there's one already, but I will update it if it's not. So anyway, getting on with the reason for this video is I wanted to um, talk about a topic which is has been bouncing around a lot and kind of irks me, and that is the edition wars, the different versions. Like every time, I almost feel like I don't want to participate in a lot of the many forums for Dungeons and Dragons and RPGs in general because there's so much people taking. It's always kind of the same basic thing where people either hate fifth edition or they love 5e, and people are going back and forth on the discussion about which edition is better, or why WotC sucks, or why first edition is the only true, or Beck Me, and it gets kind of old, to be honest, tiring. Um, I started playing the game in 1983. I had my wires crossed. For some reason, I thought it was that they had the first edition reprint for the core books. You see in the background, these are actually, they didn't come out in 85. I thought for some reason they came out in 85, but I was misremembering. And I was actually 13 years old when they first came out. Yes, I'm pretty old. But I bought them, the bulk of them, at and this is just a stock picture that I found online. I actually have, I think all of these books. Yeah, let's see. I have all the books that are depicted, um, and all the hardcover books for first edition. I went out and bought the ones I didn't have over a couple years back, and this is the edition that I remember playing first. I didn't really play Back Me, and I didn't play anything that came before it. And I have fond memories of uh, first edition. Those, if you, I look back inside the hardcovers of these books, which I bought like at Toys R Us with my mom money my mom gave me or allowance or whatever it was, and it reminds me of my childhood. So I know a lot of people have strong nostalgic feelings about the edition that they like as well. And for me, it was first edition. Even though, to be honest, we didn't play that whole lot. Me and my brothers and my schoolmates, and also we played it fairly consistently for a while, but we couldn't really figure out all the rules. It was like it's a very crunchy system in terms of mechanics, which you don't necessarily need all the mechanics. As an adult, I've gone back and read the books, and I'm still puzzled by some of it. Not in the sense that I don't understand it, but in the sense that some things are just seem to me now, in hindsight, having played other editions too, like fifth edition and even 3.5 or third edition, how a lot of the rules either well they kind of some of the books kind of contradict themselves in how to do stuff mechanically. So some of it is like really not really necessary, in my opinion, looking back. And I have been participating in a first edition game that I organized online, and I found this group that was kind of like me and wanted to play first edition, and maybe I'll split and do multiple videos about this topic, because I do want to. I've talked about the different editions in the channel in the past, which is why I think that I'm not really going to do a whole bunch more, because what else, what more can I say? Well, there's more I can say, but I'd probably relegate that to the blog. But I digress. First edition to me, they have the books from 77 or 79 or whatever year it came out, and they have the three core books with like with the monster manual that looks like little cartoons, and the Efreet on the cover of I think it's the DM's guide, one of the core books. But those books to me are those covers don't evoke the sense of nostalgia, obviously, that I get from these books, from these covers. um, these are the reissue covers for 1E. Like I said, came out of 1983, and these are the books that I remember playing with. And I remember, like I said, I didn't play it very long because we were kids, but we moved to other things. We grew up. We went to, found out about girls and cars and stuff like that. So we weren't always playing RPGs or board games or games in general. But when I go back, I don't know if it's a little bit of like what they call the nostalgia or rose tinted glasses or anything like that. But I'm sure that plays a part of it, because I remember that era very fondly. And everybody kind of has their own touchstone. And I think the reason why the edition wars, and that's when people are discussing and arguing about what is the best edition or which edition actually sucks. For example, I have talked in this channel before about fourth edition, which I did play um, consistently for a couple months when I was working in Texas, and I had found a gaming group that was really fun to play with. And we were playing fourth edition. And again, in 2019, right before COVID, I found another group in my current hometown and or region, Northern California, and uh, we were playing fourth edition because fifth edition, even though fifth edition had been out for a while, the DM had all the resources and all the books for 4E, and like he didn't want to spend more money on like the new ones. He was satisfied with the system, and I think fourth edition gets a lot of unnecessary flack from people that I would estimate that about 75 to 85% people that take a really negative view of it haven't even played the system. I would bet that if you would poll them, large people haven't even played it. And I saw a video recently talking about how you don't necessarily have to be a food critic, and I'll put a link to it below too. But the person was talking about criticism, uh, uh, general criticism in general. Like when you review a book or a system or anything, any media, and you happen to be critical, his premise was that you cannot. Some people get kind of irked by that, or they get triggered by the fact where they don't want you to be critical, which is kind of the opposite. But he did make the point that you don't have to necessarily be a filmmaker to criticize a movie, or most or a lot of filmmakers are not, or film critics rather are not filmmakers, and the same goes with like food critics. Food critics are not necessarily, they don't own restaurants, he said. Now I contend that that a large, I do know in the industry, food critics do go to a lot of restaurants, and they do have sample a lot of meals, and so they kind of an authority on that. The same I can say about film criticism, where it's kind of the same deal. But I understand what he was trying to say. But I Going back to 4E, I think people are unfairly judging that without actually having played it. That's my premise, and I'll explore that in probably in the future. But getting back to 1E, which is what we're talking about here, first edition, the last couple of months, which I've been playing it on my online group, and we use like Roll20 and Discord and different things like that, to make up for the distance and not being around a table, like a lot of people did during the COVID years. I actually met somebody who said that she started playing Dungeons and Dragons online through Roll20, and that was her first experience. So people have all kinds of experiences that are not necessarily the same as what you might have or what another person might have, and they're all valid, I think. And to take a to kind of criticize them for what they enjoy is kind of pointless to me. That's why I don't really like the edition wars discussions. I've seen so many, almost like every other video that I watch online, or Reddit thread, or whatever social media network or platform. They're always either talking about how they hate WotC, like I said, or they hate Hasbro. And it is true, there are very questionable practices that they've taken. That there's no question. Um, but I don't think it's true in my experience to say that somebody was saying that the third party RPGs are actually, some of the third party materials are a lot better than what he puts together as official products, and I think that's subjective as well, because I think there's some very good uh, products that WotC has made even in the modern edition. Like for example, the starter kit for the initial starter kit for 2014's uh, fifth edition, The Lost Minds of Fan Delver. Lost Minds is a fantastic first kit, and I think, in my opinion, a very well worth the money investment. In fact, I had it and I moved, and it went. My box went missing, unfortunately, a couple years back, and I went back to the store and I bought the last set because I knew that they were gonna be hard to find in print after a while, because they're not making in really printing it anymore. New ones, they moved on to a different box, which is fine. But I like this one. I thought this one was the superior one, and I still do. So yeah, that's what this video was. This intro was a little longer than I anticipated, so I don't really want to belabor the point. I think what I'm gonna do is make a couple more talking about the other editions, and but my conclusion is that it's really it's really kind of, to me at least personally, my opinion, it's really taxing to just have to deal with people complaining one way or the other. They're the grown-ups or the old school gamers that are saying no, anything past second edition really is garbage and it's not really Dungeons and Dragons. Um, but it is. Uh, it is a form of Dungeons and Dragons that people enjoy. And then there's other people that are saying, well, I found fifth edition. Why would I want to go back and try something that came before that? What they don't realize is that if you go back, I mean, this is a game that has celebrating its 50-year anniversary this year, and if you go back 50 years, that's a long time, and you can find out a lot of older material that you can easily tweak and incorporate it into your fifth edition adventures. One thing I don't really like about the new edition, to be honest, is that the narrative flow of most of this big book adventures for fifth edition, I like a lot of them. I think I have a lot of them now. I probably went a little too crazy trying to get some of the ones so I could have a diversity of gaming. option for my players. And a lot of them are, first of all, they're overpriced. They're large and glossy and beautiful, but they're overpriced. I will agree that the third edition material sometimes it's just as good and it's not as overpriced, although it's getting up there now. So if you have a good 5e official product for $50 or 60, there's $60. The core books are gonna be next year. It's crazy, to me. You buy the core book, that's three books, that's $120 pop, and it's mostly the DMs footing the bill. And then versus like you find a third party 5e product that is half the price, like 25, $30, sometimes cheaper if you buy it online. Then obviously it's more enticing to like go that route, and especially if they're just disengaging or even more. So there's a debate about that. So but I will say playing first edition now is that I have observed a lot of people DMing the system, and it's not a bad system. It's like you can make it as narrative as 5e if you want to, and you can throw out like 70, I'd say 60, 70, 80% of the rules. Because Gary Gygax did say on the first page or the intro to the DM guide of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons First Edition that it's just a guidebook. I mean, it's in the name. It's the Dungeon Master's Guide, but you can tailor it to your table and your own individual needs. And people have been doing that from the very beginning. And I think that playing those games, I came to realize that it's just as good. And there's actually a lot of mechanics that are incorporated into like fourth and fifth and new editions that originated with first edition. So there was a lot of innovation there for sure, and it's worth taking a look back if you don't have that connection with with the nostalgia that some of us old geeks, old fogies really have with, and we love these systems. Um, so those are my thoughts about what I want to say about Edition Wars. I have a little bit more to say about it, and but I'm gonna reserve that for another time, and I will also reserve that for when I can fix this lights, and when then I'll get into like the other editions. Right now, kind of sort of stuck to like the original, which was my first exposure to the game that I really really love. So I hope you enjoyed this content. If so, I will keep making more. I will keep blogging. If you are interested in reading some esoteric thoughts about different gaming, not just RPGs, but MMOs and everything that I do enjoy in the geek culture. So go ahead and give it a like if you feel like it. There's no pressure to subscribe or anything like that. I'm thankful that you're here listening to my ramblings about the game that I really enjoyed the most in 2024 in its 50th anniversary. And no more edition wars, please. We have enough division. Just enjoy the edition that you play and introduce other people to other editions and other systems that they may not be familiar with, and they don't really know what they're missing out on. But you can change that. All right. Thank you so much and enjoy your day. I will be with you hopefully shortly once again in the near future.